Today we're having fun with shortbread. We're making several variations. For all of these variations, we're starting out with the same shortbread recipe, which is one I've used for years. It's very easy. Begin with 1 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, or 150 grams. And to that we add 1/2 cup of powdered sugar, and we're using 10 tablespoons of softened butter. And the butter really needs to be very, very soft. However, you don't want to use melted butter. These 3 ingredients get combined with whatever flavoring you like. You would use a 1/2 teaspoon of an almond extract or a full teaspoon of vanilla extract. So I'm going to start out by stirring this for about 15 to 20 seconds. As soon as that dough comes off the side of the bowl, it's ready. We're going to start out with the marbled shortbread, which I think is one of the funnest ones to make, because you just don't know what you're going to end up with. You're going to make your basic shortbread recipe. You're going to divide it into 3 sections, and you're going to color 2 sections. Now you see that I'm using my hands and kneading the color in. So you may want to use gloves. You're going to break off pieces of the 3 separate doughs and just lay them out side by side until you create a rectangle. That in half and roll it into logs. And all of these recipes need to be chilled for at least an hour prior to baking. Then slice your rolls into 3/8 of an inch. And these bake at 325 for 22 minutes or until very lightly browned on the bottom. The bottom should have just a little bit of a golden brown. And you see they will spread a little bit. I have 3 cookies here, and the one in the middle is overbaked. And you see the difference here. So it only takes a minute or so for these cookies to become overbaked. That is the golden color that you want. And let's look at the texture. So this is hard. See how far up the bottom has baked and overcooked. And you don't see tender, flaky layers in here. Now if I break this one, it's relatively soft compared to the first one. And you see those beautiful flaky layers. I just wanted to show you how easy it is to overbake shortbread, but it is so delicious when it's baked properly. For these very simple cookies, you're going to cut your dough in half, form it into 2-inch logs, and then you're going to roll your log into some sanding sugar or some sugar crystals. Wrap it very tightly in cling wrap, and once again store them in the refrigerator for at least an hour prior to slicing and baking. To make a chocolate shortbread, you add 2 tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa plus 1 tablespoon of sugar and 1 tablespoon of water. And then we continue mixing with the hand mixer. Once you get to this stage, I find it's much easier just to knead the dough until it comes together. I made a chocolate log and rolled it in green sugar crystals, and I made a plain shortbread log and rolled it in red crystals. After chilling these, I sliced the logs in half, and then you just simply put the 2 halves together. Because there's so much butter in this recipe, you don't have to force these. You use very light pressure and just push the 2 halves together, and then slice and bake your cookies. So these baked in a 325-degree oven, and you see that our cookie halves did come together. As soon as your cookies are done, immediately remove them from the pan onto a rack to cool. We're gonna make these very fancy chocolate dipped almond shortbread cookies. We bake the shortbread in an 8x8 pan and we score it prior to baking. An 8x8 pan, ungreased. Flatten your dough into the corners. You're gonna wanna get this as even and level as possible. So I come back with my butter sleeve. And I am just going to score this dough into 16 squares. And then I'm coming back and I am going in a diagonal fashion to make triangles. I'm taking the tines of a fork and pressing it in twice. Now that this has cooled for 5 minutes, we're going to take a sharp knife, and everywhere that we've scored this, we're going to cut through those scores. We're going to come back and cut all the way through. Kind of messed these 2 squares up. And now this stays in the pan for 30 minutes to cool. To dip these, you need 1/2 cup of finely chopped nuts, and I have microwaved 1/2 cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips, and to that I added 1 teaspoon of shortening. Dip one end in about 1/4 inch. We're going to let these set up for about 30 minutes. And there you have it.